of the world, top of the, pop the lid off, oh.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to our Wonder Women podcast, the main podcast for the business magazine for women.com. I know that some of you like to take us with you when you go work out or when you fly. Hope your workout or flight is going great. In our podcast, just like in our magazine, we're focused on promoting women's voices in business, technology, STEM, politics, sports, arts, and culture. My name is Monica Antohi. I'm the founder of the business magazine for women.com and the host of today's podcast. Before we get you to today's conversation and before I introduce you to our awesome guest, the most awesome and wonderful woman of today, I'd like to take a moment and take care of some administrative things. As you know, the podcast is now available on YouTube as a video and SoundCloud and iTunes as an audio podcast. That's how you found us. If you like what you're seeing today and what you're hearing, we would love for you to become our Patreon supporter. Basically, for the price of a coffee cup or more, you'll get cool perks like getting your name mentioned in the next podcast recording, or a handwritten card from us, or you'll get the current issue of our most awesome, the Business Magazine for Women, delivered directly into your inbox. Your support will give us the resources we need to continue bringing you these interviews with these amazing women, the Wonder Women of every industry. To become a Patreon supporter, you can find us at Patreon, spelled patreon.com/Wonder Women Podcast. That's patreon.com/Wonder Women Podcast. Now, let's get you to today's conversation.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Business Magazine for Women podcast. In today's podcast, I want to talk to you about beer and the women behind some really crazy, tasty beers up in St. Paul, Minnesota. So let's meet the ladies and figure out how they decided to brew up a storm. We're going to be talking to Deb and Jill, and we're going to start there. So hello, Deb and Jill. Hello, ladies.
Hello.
Hello. Hi. So let's introduce you to the audience. Let's introduce who is Deb Loch and who is Jill Pavlak.
Deb Loch. Go. I'm Deb Loch. I'm a co-founder, co-owner, and master brewer at Urban Growler Brewing Company in St. Paul, Minnesota.
Yes, ma'am.
And I am Jill Pavlok. I am the co-head-honcho at Urban Growler Brewing, and I do the creative and front of the house work.
Awesome. So
Deb's the master brewer. I'm the master connector.
Master connector, yeah. So I want to talk a little bit about you guys' background because, yes, I can't wait to talk about beer because, honestly, I would love to be drinking beer instead of tea right now, especially your beers. The honey, the honey IPA is like, oh my God, I can't even fathom how great that would taste. So I would love to talk a little bit about that, but so how did you guys end up starting Urban Growler? Like, how did that happen?
Do you want to? Okay, I'll go. So Deb and I were sitting around drinking her home brew, and it was during a very divisive time politically, and we are married, and we just thought, boy, if people would just sit down with us and have a beer, they'd realize there's nothing to be afraid of. We all want the same things in life, just to be loved and accepted. And we're drinking her beer. Like, what could we do? What could we do? And Deb's been homebrewing since the 90s. So we thought, eventually we came to, let's open a brewery. So it's our mission to bring people together through beer. We don't care how you vote. We don't care who you love. We just want us all to figure out what we have in common more than what divides us.
Yep, beer is the common denominator for a lot of people.
Yeah. Beer is very social.
It is very social. Yeah. And it kind of takes away a lot of the inhibition, a lot of the problems people might find sometimes. So when you go a little bit more relaxed, you can talk about pretty much everything.
Exactly.
So how did you get to do this? Deb, you started in biomed. How did you go from getting a very impressive education in biomed into beer brewing? To me, it's a pretty big leap. So how'd that happen for you?
Well, it is and it isn't. So I'm a biomedical engineer by training. I worked in the medical device industry for a lot of years. So biomedical engineer is applying engineering to biological systems. So I actually went to my undergrad in Milwaukee at Marquette University. And that's beer capital of the world. And who knew that being a biomedical engineer is actually perfect training for being a brewer, because you use all the engineering aspects as well as biological aspects when you make beer. So it's actually perfect training. It wasn't listed as one of the career options when I worked, but it could have been and should have been. And now it probably is. In my brewing school, a third of the class was engineers, so it's a natural transition.
And then you continue with brewing classes. Yeah, so you've taken brewing classes, so you're an actual brewmaster.
Yeah, so I went to get my master's in brewing from the University of California, Davis, and so Jill and I moved out there.
Oh, nice! You moved together. That's great.
Yep, wonderful. Yep, very intense classes. Jill did all the cooking. So I could study. It was great. It was a great experience. Learned a lot. Every day, including Sundays. I mean, it's an intensive program. Maybe Sundays was more sampling day.
Lab
work, but
lab work, right? Jill, lab work, right?
Lab work, yes. And Deb's also a very good cook, so it's just, you talk about her science background, also just the fact that she gets flavors has been very her beer recipes.
Yeah, and then I want to talk about you as well, because Jill, because you're coming from the creative side. You know, you have more experience with the creative side of things. So, like, you're bringing that to the equation. So you both bring very unique skills to your partnership.
Yeah. Yeah, we couldn't be more different in every sense of the word. We could not be more different, but it does make for a good team. Not always easy. Not always easy.
Well, what partnership is easy?
Sharing this headset. What part is easy? It took us a little while. So we've been open. It'll be 4 years in July.
Right. Congratulations.
We've kind of learned, thank you. The brewing side, that's really all Deb. The front of the house, we also have a restaurant. That's a lot me. But when it comes to numbers, I talk to Deb. When it comes to people or gut feel, we talk to Jill. Me. Jill's intuition rules. My intuition trumps sometimes her numbers, but for the most part, it's a good combo.
That's awesome. So you guys known each other for a long time?
12 years. 12 in July, I think.
Did you meet at a beer tasting competition, or?
No. Kind of. Our first meeting was at a craft beer bar.
Yeah. Okay.
It was a scheduled meeting. But
yeah. Oh, nice. All right. So, how did this come about? Like, how did you actually start this? Because brewing is not traditionally, but it's heavily male-dominated, right? So you're two beer wenches, literally two beer wenches. So that term is really old, but you talk about a beer wench. You talk about the server, and sometimes the one that's brewing as well. So you guys are the epitome of beer wenches, really, in many, many ways. So how are you bringing that back, basically? Because, like I said, mostly male in that industry. You guys are kind of unique. So, what happened? Like, how did you start? How did you decide one day, let's do urban growler? Yeah, so we wanted to do something together, and we both had careers before this. But like Jill said, we were trying to figure out what that was while we were sitting around drinking my homebrew. Yeah. And I was becoming more and more obsessed with home brewing, just recipe development, more equipment. And I came home one day and I'm like, oh, Deb took the Christmas tree down, and here she had made a beer with her Christmas tree. Well, yeah. She was totally obsessed. It was not a good beer, but she did make a beer with it. Yeah. They don't always work. So we were becoming more and more interested in this and doing something together. And we decided it would be a brewery. And I'm an engineer,
by training, so I've been in a male-dominated industry my whole career, so that was nothing unusual. And it just seemed like that was the way we were going to go. And we had no idea that we would encounter some hurdles that we did because we were women.
Right.
We got a lot of help along the way too, but the main hurdles we got were related to financing.
Okay.
And really
raising
in my
funds.
Raising funds, getting money from the bank, so loans from the bank.
So we were denied by 12 banks before we actually were taken seriously. That was a scary truth about our journey, was that we were told things like, how will you handle those big heavy bags of grain? How will you keep those late hours? It was the first time we really had, sure, there's been some sexism in our lives or discrimination, but not so blatant. And this was downright blatant sexual discrimination.
Yeah, it's very clear that happens in startup world, and the questions that female founders get are completely different than what male founders get. So, you know, the more I talk to, you know, VCs and startup founders, the more you see the same pattern again and again and again and again. Female founders are asked questions like, how are you going to fix this when that happens? How are you going to prevent this from happening? Instead, male founders are being asked questions like, how big can this go? And what do you see yourself doing with this company in 5 years? Those are completely different questions. So the world is looking at us differently than it is looking at men. So I'm sorry you ladies went through that. So what happened? Obviously, you got funding.
Yes. Well, we did, and actually caused us to go through some more creative means to raise the funds. So we were in a bank deal that they pulled out in the 11th hour, and we're like, okay, we got to be more creative. And so we actually kind of did a version of crowdfunding. So we found founding members.
I love what you did,
so
by the way.
We had our space with nothing in it.
Beautiful empty brick shell.
Yeah.
Architectural drawings all over.
Architectural drawings. We would give tours. We didn't have a lot of heat, but we would give tours. We had what would be the equivalent of a bake sale. We had my homebrew, which we gave away. Can't sell homebrew. Gave away homebrew and gave away pork carnitas, and told our story over and over and over again to people. And we found some founding members that believed in the dream and the story and helped support us financially to get open. So that was helping us get the seed money we needed for the bank. And then on the bank side, you want to tell the story about Dane?
So we were 12 bank denied. We are now like, oh my God, this might not happen. And we've been working on this for, at that point, 4 years. Was it 4 or 5? We're like 5 years into the planning of this. We also, Deb didn't mention, we got first runner-up in a national business competition through Palo Alto Software. Big deal, right?
A very big deal.
We'll take this to the bank, 160-page, very well thought out, professional experience, both of us, me, restaurants, liquor stores,
Stellar credit.
her in breweries, it's from a 7-barrel system to a 300-barrel system. I mean, we had to figure out, we thought this was a no-brainer. Being denied by 3 banks, sure. But 12, that was just almost too much to take. And so we got together with a friend of ours that owns another brewery, and we were just like, man, this might not happen. And he let us go on and on for about 5 minutes, and then he threw his bank's business card across the table to us and said, buck up, campers, call my bank. I've told them about you.
Oh,
so
good.
Pioneer Bank out of Mankato, Minnesota, which is an hour and a half away from here. You know, it's a farmer's bank. And he read our business plan, and he was like, this is a no-brainer. This is well thought out. I can't believe you haven't been funded yet. So thank God it happened. And within 2 weeks, we were closing on the loan.
That's awesome. So you didn't go the traditional startup route. You went the business route, proper business. This is a established business. You guys are not going to sell this, is what I'm trying to say.
Well, we will retire at some point.
Well, yes, but I'm saying it's like you didn't build this
to sell. We didn't build it to sell. No. I mean, we will at some point do that.
Right, eventually, but so
eventually.
That's awesome. So in this industry dominated by men, the guy that threw you the card for his banker was a guy. So you have gotten help from
a lot
male
of
brewers.
Tons of help from men and women.
Oh, yes.
Absolutely. Yes. The industry overall incredibly supportive. You know, if there's any issues, it's because we're competitive. It isn't because we're men or women.
Mm-hmm.
You know, we're competitive for shelf space for cans, not because your beer isn't as good as our beer because it's made by women. It's not like that.
So you have the brewery, which I can see the brewing barrels behind you. What are you brewing right now? What's really awesome right now? Are you prepping for summer?
Yeah, well, our Maibach, which is our May Fest beer, will come on tomorrow. We're a little behind the season this year because we just had a snowstorm last week. But
18 inches of snow last week.
Which even for Minnesota is unusual. But so the next kind of what we call our plow to pint beer, which is,
I want to talk about that. That's amazing.
Yeah,
I
would more about the plow to pint.
I would love it.
Our plow to pint series is we feature some local ingredient that sometimes shows up in beer, sometimes doesn't, and it's usually a van ride away from the brewery. So the next one up will be our rhubarb wit. So that's the one where we're waiting because we're
so excited.
I love it. We're under a little bit of snow right now, so it uses fresh Minnesota rhubarb, and it's brewed in the style of a wit beer. So it's one of our very popular spring seasonal. So that'll be coming up soon. We also
currently we have the wild rice.
Yep. So in Minnesota, when there's not a lot of stuff in the spring, that's when we use stuff like wild rice. So we have the wild rice, brown ale. We have honey IPA. So stuff that we can still
get in the winter.
Get in the winter that's sourced nearby. Otherwise, we have to freeze it in the fall. So we will also have a lemongrass wheat that we call uptown wheat coming.
Really good.
Wow.
So those are some of the seasonals coming our way.
Delicious. And you guys basically took the farm-to-table concept and applied it to beer. So that's spectacular. So do you use any of the farm-to-table process in the restaurants as well?
We will incorporate a lot of Deb's beer in and the ingredients she's making. So if it's a honey IPA, we'll have a dessert with honey or barbecue honey glaze.
Nice.
Ingredient. Yeah. Pretty much every beer, even the rhubarb, we had a cheesesteak with a rhubarb strawberry sauce.
I'm salivating.
I know, I'm really getting
Stop talking about food. I'm salivating. It sounds so good.
It is. My favorite beer, one of Deb's plow to pints, is the rhubarb wit, and we do a bubble. You know what bubble tea is?
Yeah.
Like with the tapioca balls?
Yeah.
We do a rhubarb bubble brew. And the
nice.
Tapioca balls with tea.
Green tea infused rhubarb wit, and then passion fruit puree.
Oh my God! I feel like I have to fly to St. Paul.
And it's so wrong in so many ways because then we put ice in it and you drink it with a straw.
It's so
It is summer, so you kind of just go with it, you know.
Yep. So that's one of my favorites.
All right, ladies. So you're two female founders, but do you work only with women? You don't, right? You have men and women working with you, right?
Oh yeah.
We are equal opportunity.
Yeah.
Yep.
Do you see yourselves as mentors for the new generation of brewers?
We've had a couple women come through here and go off and do other things at other breweries. So I've become, instead of being a helper or assistant, they're now up there with head brewers.
And that's not just women, that's men as well.
Yeah, we have young men, or men in general, come in as well. But yeah, this is an interesting fact that when we post a brewing job, we don't get many women applying. And we have to really go out of our way to, and that's okay, to try to encourage women to apply. But we'll get young men that have only home brewing experience apply, and women with brewing experience not apply. So kind of weird.
Why do you think that is?
It's the same thing we've always heard, that women feel like they need to go above and beyond, that they're not qualified when they're more than qualified to, compared to a lot of the men that are applying.
Yeah.
I don't know what that's about.
I've seen the same thing. A woman that doesn't feel like she has all the check marks, so she doesn't feel like she's got 100% of the qualifications, she will not apply, even though she's got like 97.9. Right? A guy with 40% feels like, oh, I can do this. I'm going to do this.
Okay.
So how do we get, what do you ladies think about getting women to see that it's okay to go apply for this job? Like, what do we need to do to encourage more women to get into business and into a new field, even though they don't feel like they have 100% of qualifications, which sometimes they do, to go in and apply for that job? What do you think?
Well, I think as owners, as kind of more senior people in the industry, we have to spread the word. And every chance we get to speak, we talk about, go apply, even if you don't think. Take the chance.
Believe in yourself.
And it's, and I think, with focusing on STEM or STEAM, whatever your thing is, just putting more emphasis on you can go for it, and it's okay if you don't make it. It's okay if you fail. Quote, fail.
Yeah.
It's all learning.
Yes.
It's all learning.
We've had many failures before getting open and after being open, but it's like, yes, as you say, there's no mistakes.
Opportunities to learn and change, or change your mind.
We're learning something new every day.
Yes.
That's awesome. So the failure part is so important for any women or anybody in business, because if you don't fail, you don't know how to change course and how to pick yourself back up and how to, adapt to the new situation and new environment. So it is super important to fail in many, many ways, because it teaches you resilience. People that are...
We're not saying it's easy.
No, of course it is. I mean, what's worthy out there that's easy? Not really that many things. So something that you guys are passionate about, it's important. So it makes sense to take time to, to learn it properly. And yes, fail at some of that stuff so you can get better at it. And yes, it is hard. And, we're seeing you guys now, but you've been working at this for 4 years. And then before that, you were working at it for another, 5 years.
6 years.
So 6 years.
We're in year 10, really.
So
year 10.
Exactly. So basically what we're seeing is your success. We're not seeing the last 10 years of heavy and intense work and all the preparations and the biomed training and the brewing school and, taking care of each other, while you're, growing through, all of this together. I'm sorry.
We joke that we were never both curled up in the fetal position at the same time.
That's a good thing.
One or the other, yes. So it's kind of a joke, but it's sort of true.
It's important in a partnership to have that. Like, if one of them is overwhelmed, the other one needs to step up and give confidence for both of them, because otherwise it's not going to work well long term. So who were your mentors growing up? Like, who were your mentors that put you on the direction that you're on? Like, do you have mentors? Do you have people that have helped you along the way, that have guided you?
Yep, I would have to say one of my mentors, her name is Donna, and she thinks differently than most people. Donna is not about accomplishing. She's more following your dream, following your passion, living your life. Mistakes, fine, make a mistake. It's okay. Yeah. And I think that she really helped me change the way I think. And I am a numbers person. I'm very financially conservative, which
is sometimes difficult in a dynamic startup mode or growth mode, and kind of used a lot of inspiration from her. So my friend Donna.
So I introduced Deb to Donna.
Nice.
You're
like, you need to meet this person.
You need a little Donna in your life, yes. So we just looking good, but I would agree that I love the way Donna thinks differently. But for me, she's since passed away, but a friend that I made when she was like 88 and I was like 40, and she lived to be 101. And so she helped me. What I learned from her, it's not necessarily what you do, it's the people you meet along the way. And always building friendships with people, no matter their age, young or old, which has been very helpful. In this business, we have a lot of millennials, and that works. Can you hear us okay? Because the tap room is now open, and there's a lot
I can hear you. I can still hear you.
Thank you. Okay, good. So that has been helpful to me. Just like, it isn't just about the two of us. It is about a larger community. And Elida was her name. She really helped me realize that the same thing. It's not about the mistakes. It's about the people.
And each deserves first. Elida was a school teacher.
She was a school teacher. Each dessert first. You never know if you're going to make it, if you're going to live through dinner. She lived to be 101. So.
Eat dessert first. That's a really good quote. Eat dessert first. So what drives you? What's your motivation? What gets you up out of bed in the morning? Besides amazing beer.
For me, it's the team we've built. The people that come in here every day. They get super excited about, oh my God, the cans came.
Oh, you're breaking up a little bit.
And they'll take pictures of the cans getting unloaded off. Get all these cans, and how is this? They help us see the joy in the day-to-day of what we're doing.
And then we also we're part of a great community, so we get a lot of support. We have a lot of customers, and just the energy, and that's fulfilling. So yes, being successful in business is important, but it's the other intangibles that really make it more personal.
The other cool thing is that our mission of bringing people together through beer.
Yeah.
Can I tell a real quick story?
Sure, absolutely.
So like I said before, we don't care how you vote or how people vote. We just really so here's a quick story. There was in our barrel room, we had an event. And it was a Democratic gentleman running for governor, I believe. And so there was like 175 people packed in there. And they said, hey, by the way, someone's going to be coming from the opposite party. They're going to try to come in. And he'll ask to talk to the owner, we need you to say it's not welcome because it's a private party. Okay, this all happened as they said. I meet the guy, he's got a camera shining on me. He's like, is it true I'm not invited to this party? I'm like, hi, I'm Jill, I'm the owner. Yeah, this is a private party, but would you like a tour? I'd love to give you a tour of our space. And then all of a sudden he lowers the camera and he's like, well, hi. I'm like, what's your name? And he tells me. So I give him a tour. I set him up with some beer samples, and the guy had a great time here. And I told him, I just said, again, we're not about one party or the other. We're about what we share in common. So clearly, we both like to talk about beer, and we both are liking the live music that we have going. And he sat around here for 2 hours listening to the music, having a great time. He didn't care anymore about that party going on in back. He was just enjoying the company of other folks around him. So that was like one teeny tiny example of how we're making a little bitty tiny difference in our community.
Even if it's for a couple hours. Like you said.
Planting seeds, hopefully. Planting seeds, yeah.
Like you said, beer brings people together. So,
yeah.
On a personal tangent, how is it being, a couple in this industry? How are you being received as a couple? Are you seeing any barriers on that?
Are you seeing any barriers?
No, I don't think we are. Or we're oblivious to them.
Yeah, we're kind of
good.
Busy. we don't notice. And when we do hear of something, like another brewery brought it to our attention about another brewery having an issue with GLBT folks, it's like it's 1 in 130 states. Well, you know, they don't have to come in here, and if I ever meet this person, I will be nothing but respectful. So it's
but
all
yourself.
our beliefs. Yeah, nothing but myself. And I think again, we would just agree that we like mostly the same thing.
Awesome. And I agree with you. I'm just, you know, it's very interesting, this transition that we've had in the country, and to seeing how we're finally changing the way the general population starts, you know, looking at the LGBT community. So I'm so glad to hear positive stories, basically, even though it's, in this case there's one out there that's not very positive, but overall I'm glad to see that you guys are, you know, there's no barriers there at all. So awesome. On a previous podcast we ended up coming up with a series called Women 101. You know how we have like Millennials 101, and how we have like how-tos for how to work with Millennials and how to work with, you know, baby boomers and Gen X and Gen Y. Well, there's none of that for women. So what do you ladies think that we would be able to suggest? What would be something that you think that men should know on how to work with women and, you know, how to make the working environment better? So what would be one suggestion from each, if you'd like, or just one, that we can actually make, you know, for Women 101, teaching men how to work with men?
Well, I think, and it's not just women, but being respectful of other people. So we really here try to instill a culture of respect, and that's, you know, it's not women, it's all people. So whether you're, you know, vote differently, if you're
transgender,
right,
person of color. So I think creating a culture of respect, like people are different and will be different, and that's a good thing. That can create a lot of good ideas, a lot of good interactions when it's not looked at as you're different, you're scary, you're wrong. And, you know, it's hard. It's hard for all of us sometimes to get over those bumps, but it's that kind of keep talking about it and keep setting the expectations too, that, you know, if you're a guy and we feel like we got a lot of guys that have our back too, like if the guys are setting the tone here too. So if something's not okay or they shouldn't be saying, we have plenty of guys that will step in and say that's not okay. And I think that's important too, where guys can step up and educate and communicate to their peers.
Yeah, and it's not just the training that men get. It's when they're in the back in the kitchen or in the brewery or behind the bar, the little conversations. They need to call each other out if it's inappropriate. You know, it's, for me, when I go to like beer conventions and I see a group of guys I know, it's really sometimes hard for me to go up to that group of men. And so just having them turn and acknowledge you is a small thing, but really important. I just being aware that it's not always easy if it is in a male-dominated industry, for women to approach a crowd of men. That's just a simple thing. It's more,
And then even in the beer industry, women like beer just like men do. And so even teaching our staff training, like there are no assumptions. If you have a double IPA and a light wheat beer, don't just assume that the guy's getting the double IPA, because you're going to be wrong half the time.
Yeah.
And so those are...
So no assumptions would be a big thing for 101. Don't make assumptions.
Yep. Don't make assumptions. Those are very good lessons. I'm going to take this clip and put it into the Women 101 course curriculum at this point. All right, so let's go a little bit more personal. What's a book that you guys think that's important for us to read? What's something that it's good for you, like something that you like to read?
Well, I'm reading a book on leadership. So now that we're into year almost 4, it's important to us to try to keep folks here because now the crazy growth, the steady climb of a new business, at 4 years, things aren't as, you're not doing these crazy jumps in numbers. So how do you maintain people, keep the excitement? So I'm reading a book written by Ari, and now I forgot his last name. He owns Zingerman's Deli in Ann Arbor, Michigan, and he has the anarchist approach to leadership or something.
Failed
anarchist approach to something. I don't know, but anything by Ari and Zingerman's Deli and their Zing Train, they call it. Anything on leadership, I'm going to grab. So I just started my first book. I gave one to one of our managers, and she absolutely loved it. So the gist of it is, instead of having a business that's like this, a hierarchical business, it's more like this, and it's incorporating all your team. And I think that's what keeps people excited and passionate. So leadership is, I haven't had time to do a lot of reading on it, so that's what I've just started getting back into.
And I am reading, and I don't read so much. It's really on vacation, so I've been working on this for months.
Vacation for a while.
It's called Small Giants.
Oh, yeah.
So and it's kind of being good, being more than good, being great, but not being giant. So we're never going to be huge, but we want to be great. And so that's how we're striving in our business and how we're growing to be not giant, but just the right size.
We just want to be great.
Just great.
We want to be in the top 10 breweries in our state. So right now there's 130. We want to be in the top 10, but not by volume, by reputation. So we want to be known for great beer, fantastic food, outstanding service. But it doesn't mean we have to be, competing with the top dog volume-wise.
Well, you are the #1 female brewery in Minnesota.
That is one way to get it.
Yes, it is. So we'll keep you up there. All right. What's the craziest thing about you guys? What's something that is so out there that you guys can do, or that you're passionate about that not too many people know about? Tell us something.
I always say we are a couple of squares that happen to have a super cool brewery. This brewery is way cooler than the two of us.
Jill's kind of a stand-up comic. Jill does all our social media, and we have a Chiweenie dog. So she's a cross between a Chihuahua and a mini wiener, and she's the crazy dog lady.
I turned into the crazy dog lady.
Crazy dog lady, but she does post with Frankie. Frankie's a girl.
The Chiweenie?
Yeah.
That's super awesome. All right, one last question.
She's up in our office right now. As far as, yeah.
Sorry, one last question, because I know you got to go. If you would have a billboard, where would you put it, and what would you put on it? Like a big billboard. Where would you put it? What would you put on it?
I know what we put on it.
Someday is now.
What?
So, someday is now.
Oh, awesome! Yes, that is. Yeah, someday it has to be now.
You want to explain why someday is now?
Yeah.
Good.
Well, so as we said, both of us had careers before we came into the brewing industry, and we all have those conversations with ourselves, with other people, when we say, someday I want to blah, 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 fill in the blank. And
the death sentence, someday.
Yeah, someday we want to do whatever. And we decided that someday was going to be now, and we quit our jobs and immersed ourselves in the brewing industry and took the leap.
And here we are 10 years later.
Woohoo!
Yeah.
Well, thank you so much.
Where would we want that billboard?
Yes, where would it go?
Yeah, you get that one.
What's the highway that joins the east and the west?
Well, there's 10, 20, 40, 70, and...
What's the one that goes through the Midwest? Just because we're Midwestern.
40, I think. 40.
I want it on that highway. I want it double-sided so people hit it going east, hit it going west.
Yeah, they need it. I think the entire country needs it. I think the entire world needs it because we keep postponing things. So I'm so glad you guys didn't postpone. I'm so glad that this is important and you guys actually decided that someday is now and started this because you are amazing and I really cannot wait. I hope you're going to export soon. Are you exporting out of Minnesota?
No, we self-distribute and we do it just in Minnesota. Actually, right now, just around the Twin Cities.
Our goal is to be in every liquor store in the state of Minnesota.
Are you in cans? Are you in bottles? Or are you in big?
We're in cans. Can I run and get one?
Keep talking. Hold it. Oh, we are in cans. So we have, we distribute cans and kegs. So just in Minnesota right now. But Jill is coming with an example of our one of our cans,
awesome.
Our Midwest IPA. That just arrived yesterday.
That's very pretty, yeah.
We can today, and it's sales guys were waiting at the end of the line to grab it so they could go take it out to our accounts today.
Well, I'm going to ask for a shipment of that beer down to Texas.
What's your favorite beer? What's your favorite style of beer?
I love a good amber, but I also can enjoy a really good IPA. So I can drink pretty much like those two. I absolutely love those two. So yeah, I can't wait to order some from you guys because fantastic. So looking forward to next time coming up to St. Paul and everybody that's watching us. You go to St. Paul, you're gonna go to Urban Growler and say hi to the ladies and enjoy yourself some.
Happy to give you a tour.
And if you're in Minnesota, ask for our beer in your bars, restaurants, and liquor stores.
Absolutely.
Follow us on Facebook.
Follow
us on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter.
We'll have all the ladies. We'll have all the Urban Growlers social media links down at the bottom with the link to you guys. And I can't wait to talk to you next time. So thank you so much for taking the time today. I really appreciate it.
Thank you for the opportunity.
Absolutely. Yeah. Thank you so much, and good luck with the business. And please don't give up because this is so freaking awesome. We love it.
Great. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, ladies. Have a great day. And to everybody that's listening in on us today, thank you so much. Have a great day, everybody. Bye.
Hey, everybody, and thank you again for tuning in today. Hope you enjoyed it and learned a lot. Just to remind you that for a price of coffee, you can now hear your name on our podcast. So go to patreon.com/wonderwomen podcast and make your pledge. The music for our podcast is graciously provided by our most awesome Wonder Woman, Cheryl B. Engelhardt. To get your free download, go to cbemusic.com. That is cbemusic.com. In the meantime, check out our other podcast and get caught up with the previous issues of our magazine at thebusinessmagazineforwomen.com. Thanks, everybody, and we'll see you next time.